We are indeed live.
Okie dokie.
I managed to make a second TikTok account by accident by signing in with our Google.
Oh, don't worry. I've done that 6 times.
Five, six.
I wish I could tell you how that platform works, but it is absolutely not made for people like me.
No, and I don't understand how people use it.
Not me either.
So continue. Oh no, no,
I don't
no, no.
understand. I don't understand how you find what you want on there. This is
Uh,
the old this is the
you just
oldest
kind of
conversation we've ever had for the record.
yeah, you just kind of stumble upon something and you watch it for long enough, and then it'll eventually find you other things that you probably like.
But how do I print it?
I don't want to continue as Mike. There we go. Verify email to log in. Also, this is what happens, children, when you change your phone and don't put all your new codes back in.
Make sure you save all your passwords. Don't reuse your passwords for the record, even though we do. You shouldn't, because
Yeah.
once the bad guys have an email from you and a password that works, they will hash that into every single possible website and snag all of your accounts. So don't do that. Or just have like an insanely hard password that only you can remember. And it probably should be song lyrics. Thanks. Are we ready?
Yeah, we're ready. I'll figure this TikTok out later. I hope I
This
didn't
tic
believe it.
tac. Hopefully not, but I doubt it. All right, I'm ready when you are. Hello and welcome to the Warrior House podcast, where Warrior Pride lives. I'm your host, Ryan Ranger, joined by my co host, Mike Sangster. Thanks for joining us on episode 93 of the Warrior House podcast. Through a full weekend of the NCAA tournament, Sangster. It was a busy one.
It is madness. Though
Is.
not as exciting as I would have hoped, but pretty solid nonetheless.
Where's the madness? Thursday was like the first time, and I could not even tell you how long that I just sat on the couch. didn't work that day, and just watched the whole day. And I can tell you by the end of the day, I was exhausted because, like, the multi-view, you can see all four games at the same time. I was so tired by the end of the day from just following everything and analyzing stuff and trying to figure out it was a lot, but it was fun. I'm glad I finally got to do it. It's been a while.
Yeah, I did that too, except at work in our conference room that nobody uses. But yeah, same idea.
Yeah, no, a lot of fun. So
Yeah,
that was most of what on there. We didn't obviously make it out to any Wayne State events. A lot of the stuff was happening not in
very far away.
town. So yeah, but we get to talk about it now. We get to start out the first thing is women's golf. They finished up the Oldfield Intercollegiate golf tournament. I believe that was last Tuesday. So a day after we were recording, if I'm not mistaken. They ended up finishing 12th out of 15 there. Again, we talked about that being a very difficult field. So, and this is a team that's had a lot of turnover over the last year. So, still trying to find their way a little bit, still trying to get some experience and, team vibes together. Who knows what that's looking like. But nonetheless, they're competing, they're out there, and they get to continue on. So, we will talk about them. Actually, not this week. They're going to be off for, I believe, a week or two, which is interesting that we're kind of sneaking into April here, and they have a week off. But nonetheless, we're very excited to follow them as we get closer into their season. The men's golf team also is in the middle of a tournament right now. They're in Richmond, Kentucky for the Finley Spring Invite. Very interesting that Finley is hosting something down in Richmond, Kentucky, because I don't know where Richmond is. But
Richmond,
currently,
Michigan, not in Upper Macomb County.
right. So currently, if I'm not mistaken, the team is tied for
Third.
third. No, they're actually outright third right now.
They are.
As the most updated scoring is telling me that they are outright third
What?
because they are still in action for round one.
They're
Um,
still going. It's like 6:30 when we're recording
yeah,
this record. That's interesting.
it's golf, man. What are you going to do? Josh DeCarlo currently is in the top four, possibly the top three at this point. And yeah, I mean, the team's in the middle of it. Finley's leading, no surprise. I mean, if they're hosting this event, I'm sure this is a course that they play on the regular. So a lot of their golfers are probably very familiar with it. And then Missouri St. Louis coming in second right there. These are both, Finley's number 46. We'll take them out of the equation. Missouri St. Louis is number 25 in the country. And just behind Wayne State in the standings is Missouri S&T, who is ranked number 18. So pretty good company for Wayne State. If this is one of those that if you can get top two in this one, I think you're feeling pretty good about it. Missouri St. Louis definitely seems like the one that we got to challenge a little bit in as we close out round two, get into round three tomorrow, and then have a really good finish there. But nonetheless, some pretty good individual performances highlighted by Josh DeCarlo.
Yeah, right now it looks like Wayne State is about up 7 strokes in all. Like you said, they haven't finished up round two. Josh DeCarlo, for his part, is still tied for fourth. He is 4 under par, and the number one golfer is 8 under par. So certainly a beatable opponent that, hey, maybe if Wayne State isn't going to necessarily win, at least get Josh DeCarlo a top 5 finish, and sure is looking that way right now.
Yep, absolutely. And then for what it's worth, Richmond, Kentucky is a scooch west. If you were to go straight down from Detroit, they're a little bit west. So they get a little bit more daylight later on in the day. So maybe that's working out, but also, yeah, it's very late and there's a lot of holes left for some of these guys to play. So hopefully the golf team has a good finish here. Another team that was in action this week, they were actually at home, is the Wayne State softball team. It's been cold lately, and we've been in the middle of March Madness. I couldn't make it out for this one. But starting out on Wednesday, back last week, the softball team took on Northwood in a doubleheader on Wednesday. Our team lost game one by a score of 3-7, and they were able to win game number two by a score of 7-5. And then rolling into Sunday, which I think we forgot to mention on the last episode. So foul, hand up, that one's on us. Personal foul, 2 shots for the softball team. They took on Ferris State in a GLIAC home doubleheader, and the softball team lost game one by a score of 1-9, and they were able to win game number two by a final score of 5-4. So a couple of splits in there, no harm, no foul. You like to, when you're at home to get 2 wins, you like to sweep these teams, but one, I don't know where these teams are at in the softball rankings so far. But 2, we continue to talk about the fact that this is a team that's continuing to trend upwards from a couple of down seasons there. So, it's possible that we know all about Ferris State athletics. It's possible they have a very good softball team, and we had a really good split against them. Maybe the same could be said about Northwood. I'm not sure, but nonetheless, a 2-2 home series there for the softball team.
Yeah, and again, you said it best that this team hasn't had the seasons they've wanted the past couple of years, and to start out what feels like a 500 team, it's exactly where they want to be. A solid foundation going into GLIAC play now. Anything can happen in this conference, uh, and they're in a much better position, I think, starting out this part of the season now than they were last year.
Completely agreed. So we get a lot to talk about them in the second half. They have a lot of games coming up here, and they're going to get very, very into their GLIAC season here. So we'll be right back to talk about softball. But thanks. Let's wrap it up on baseball really quick, and then we got a couple of pretty well, a big sport that's finishing up.
Yep.
But we'll start out baseball. They had a 4-game weekend series down in Lakeland, taking on number 7 ranked Florida Southern. And we knew this was going to be a tough one. We said if you can get out of this one with a split against a top 10 team in D2 baseball, you're feeling pretty good. Unfortunately, that did not happen. Game 1, Wayne State drops by a score of 3-10. Saturday doubleheader, Wayne State drops that first game by a score of 6-8, and that second game by a score of 5-13. So they're rolling into Sunday saying we got to at least get one of these games to salvage the series a little bit and just say, hey, we did what we could. And they did that. They did exactly that. Huge upset in this one. Wayne State wins this one by a score of 4-3. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is the game that got Ethan Getting. I believe you said he's a transfer from Purdue Northwest, the GLIAC pitcher of the week.
It Yes, he did end up pitching in this game as a reliever, and he ended up getting the win in this game as well.
Yeah, big one for him. Comes in 64 pitches in 5 innings, scoreless, did not allow a run, only allowed 1 hit, only 1 walk, and was able to get 3 strikeouts in there. So did everything he needed to do, and it took every little bit of that for Wayne State to be able to win this one. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Wayne State won this one in the 9th, actually. I think they got 3 runs in the very first inning, and then
Yes.
went the whole game. And in the 9th inning, I don't know if it was necessarily a walk-off win. I doubt it because we were the away team. But nonetheless, if you're the away team, that's as close to a walk-off win as you can get. So pretty cool stuff there.
Yeah, it looks like in that top of the ninth inning, Tony Hatzigiorgio, he led off with a walk. He got onto second with a sacrifice bunt from Jacoby Dale, and then he got sent to third. Ty Garza hit a single to center, and then yeah, he scored off of that play, and then see Gabe Zeldis did something. Just the best description here. Zeldis won the game for WSU thanks to perfect situational execution.
That sounds like a pinch, like a bunt, or like what do you call
Yeah.
that? Like a I can't even remember what that's called. I've been out of baseball for so long. A squeeze
Uh,
play.
yeah.
Yeah, that
Something
just feels
squeeze.
like
Yeah.
that's immediately what I would think. But yeah, who knows? But
Yeah. That's how you
regardless,
upset the number 7 team in the country who has like
you pull it all
wins every game.
out. And yeah, exactly. And you say you lost 3 in a row against them, a very good team. Say, well, you got to get this one, guys. So you do it everything you can to
Yep.
go and make that happen. So good stuff from the baseball team. We will be talking about them here in the second half of the episode. They're jumping right into GLIAC play, which I have a thought on them as they get into conference play here. So I'll get to that. But Sangster, talk to us about some fencing stuff. What do we got?
Well, the men's and women's fencing teams, at least some athletes from the teams, were at the NCAA championships in University Park, Pennsylvania, aka Happy Valley, aka Penn State. Michigan finished. Michigan, wow. The men
You're
finished.
already thinking about the Sweet 16, aren't you?
Yeah, just well, to be the Elite Eight, actually.
True. Anyway,
The men ended up finishing the competition. Wayne State ended up in 14th place. Mahmoud El Sayed got first team All American in Epi after a third place finish out of 24 fencers. He also went into the finals as the 4 seed and unfortunately lost to the number 1 seed and eventual winner by a score of 15-14. So real close on that one. He almost won the whole thing. Also, the women that they were there, they had a little bit of a rougher time. Wayne State ends up 17th out of 33 teams, and Reka Galfalvi finished 20th out of 24 fencers in épée, and Ludovica Mancini finished 24th in foil.
Yeah, Rika especially. I wanted to make sure I looked her up because she's a sophomore. So,
Yep.
where she's at in the standings for nationals is kind of telling for what we can expect from her over the next, hopefully, 2 seasons. I don't know the situation that will come across if she's planning to, you know, in this day and age, before we hit the record button on this episode, we sounded old as anything trying to figure out how TikTok works because I don't know how TikTok. I don't even know how to log into this thing, to be honest with you. I figured out Instagram, and I'm very proud of that. But in this old age of us, the NCAA is a lot different with the moving around of athletes going to this university. I mean, we just talked about the fact that our
Shout
baseball
out Rob
team
Lee
got a
Jr.
what's that?
Shout out Rob Lee Jr. Shout out
Yeah,
Kareem.
Kareem. Yeah, I mean, it just happens. It's kind of how it is these days. So it's one of those things that we accept. So I say that in that, I hope Reka, continues to grow. I mean, right off the bat, she did pretty well in the sophomore season. So who knows what the future looks like? But if she sticks around with this team, it'll be very exciting to follow what she does in the Ludovica as well, consistently making it to. And she's not the only one now. If I'm not like, it feels like the last 2 seasons for fencing, like she was the one. But right now, she's not though. Like she's still one of the ones, but like she has somebody alongside, basically
Right.
a travel partner, if you will. She has a friend that she can talk to
Yeah,
in between bouts. So that's kind of cool to see. That's another thing helping to boost this program a little bit.
for sure. So yeah, that was a good wrap up though. I think for fencing, their season is now just about over. They'll be restarting next in fall, and we'll see who's going to be coming into this program. I don't know how many seniors we've got per se, and I don't because Mahmoud's he's definitely an underclassman. I don't think he's a senior.
I think he might be a freshman.
Yeah, and Reika's definitely not a senior. I don't think Ludovica is either. So yeah, we'll see what Coach Tullners brings into the program for 2025, 2026. And it'll be really exciting to see, I think.
So the only seniors really quick that we have, I just
Yeah.
happened to pull it up on the men's fencing side. We have Bobby Hirsch and
Yep.
Ayad Maroof. Again, I don't really know the whole situation of their how much eligibility they have left. If this really is their last season, I haven't followed it that closely. But other than that, we should, class wise and eligibility left, we can have basically everybody on the men's fencing team back next season. And talking about the women's fencing team really quick. We have Vika Shevchenko. She's a grad student, so she's likely out.
Yep.
Hala Karamane, and then Reagan Byers. So other than that, I mean, we got Ludovica, we got Rika, who's going to be back, and then the other ones that we've talked about throughout the season. So
Yep.
we'll have a little bit of turnover, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's not a bad thing because this is how you end up with Mahmoud El Sayed. It is,
Right.
like we said, was very close to winning the NCAA championship
Yep.
for his specific weapon. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. So, yes, I agree
Yep.
with you, though. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see who we get back, what some of the new names are, and just see if this program can keep getting better and better because they're very good.
Absolutely. And a team that has had some new names, as we've said all season, the men's tennis team, they were at home on March 20th against a team that's receiving votes by the ITA. Tiffin University and Wayne State just smoked them. Wayne State won 6-1. Tiffin got the doubles point, and then just Wayne State swept every other singles match to win this one.
Yeah, that was a pretty big one there. Yeah, no, Tiffin,
Taking care of business at home.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's one of those you don't complain about a win because it's like what happened in the doubles, but like this is still the number 47 ranked team in the country, and this is a Wayne State team that's not ranked right now. If no, I'm sorry, they are ranked. They are ranked. They're top 15 for sure. So one of those like this is one of those you expect to win, especially when you're at home. But then you look at the singles, you're like, we had this the
Yep.
whole time. So that's very cool to see. And then over on the women's tennis side, they had Oakland this last weekend, straight out of Rochester, not
Or
Oakland,
Auburn Hills.
California, or Auburn Hills, somewhere,
And I think
up
there's a
that way.
third city that claims them too. Maybe the
Oh,
actual Rochester.
interesting. Good,
Oakland
good, good.
County.
Yeah, exactly. Somewhere up that way. So
Michigan State
uh,
University, Oakland, as it used to be
the,
called.
the Wayne State women's tennis team was able to win this one by a final score of 5-2. They did end up getting the doubles point in here, which, for what it's worth, Anna Esracina and Dea Gorgitz were the only doubles pair that did not win their match. So the rest of the team had their back immediately and were able to get that one. And then after that, Wayne State did exactly what they needed to do, and they won 4 of the 6 singles events, most of them in 2 sets. Only 2 of them went to 3 sets there. So a really good win for this team. I mean, the Wayne State women's tennis team, again, we've kind of talked about it a little bit. Definitely seems like their schedule's a little bit lighter, but then they get right back out there and take on Oakland. We're able to win that one pretty convincingly. So good for them. Both of the tennis teams were jumping right into GLIAC action here in the second half of this episode. So we'll be back to talk a little bit more about them. And the really quick thing to close it out on, because we don't really have that much to say on this one, is volleyball finishing or starting out their spring season. They took on Lawrence Tech. It was a scrimmage. Hopefully it was fun. There was no score kept in this one. So,
I wonder if the
yay,
air
volleyball.
is done at the Matha yet.
I would expect of all people that would know that, Sangster, I would expect you to know that. I feel like you would have looked up the contract to figure out if it was marked as complete.
That does remind me, I haven't really checked for the Board of Governors meetings yet. I'll have to do that maybe over the course of this week.
There you go. Or maybe we'll do a quick research during the break. And then so speaking of, we'll take a quick break. We got a couple of sports to talk about when we come back. So we will be right back. You don't actually need to look up everything during intermission.
What if I do? Also, I did log into our TikTok. The only way that you can log into it is with my cell phone number. You cannot use Google or else it just wigs out.
Well, thank goodness I'm already logged in.
And now I am too. And somehow still, and YouTube Live, if you haven't checked out our TikTok yet, our most successful video is one I did of some burned coney dogs with the HOTDOGS song. That currently has
One,
82,000 views.
that one went nuts. I continue to say I don't understand TikTok. I don't need to understand it, but I just don't understand it. It's the most ridiculous things sometimes just go viral on there, and
You
it's
do.
something.
Oh no, they took a. Oh, that's a bummer. I think that TikTok deleted the sound for. Do you remember the Maxwell cat? Uh,
Yeah.
do 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 do. I think
Yep.
they muted the sound so they don't show my. Mm. That one was a good one, and
That was a good one.
back when we were hanging out at Tony V's regularly, but that's a bummer.
Dang.
Yeah, the music is gone. I can replace it though, but I don't know what to replace it with.
Can you take me higher?
Just have two totally unrelated memes.
Just get it to have a second life. Bring Creed into it.
Creed cat. Cool.
I'm ready to jump into second half if you are.
Yeah, let's do you
Oh,
have who's going to the Ashland invite?
no.
I got you. We'll see if it exists. Ashland invite. Golf. Live stats. Hey, we don't know who's gonna be there. Sweet. Cool. Then let's giggity go.
Cool. And we're back. Before we jump into what we have coming up, Sangster, I want to talk about Bar Madness because this year has been probably the most engaging, it feels like, that we've had so far. And that I know we're getting a ton of votes on Instagram. People are really following along. People are commenting, reacting, and all that. But all of the bars seem to be getting involved, and that's really cool to me because like we're starting to kind of reach out. In my head, I think about a lot of these uh, bars, restaurants around the Midtown area that are part of Bar Madness have a bunch of people that either live in the area or around the Midtown area quite a bit, and maybe don't really understand the whole atmosphere and environment around Wayne State, especially not the athletics part of things. So it's kind of cool to see that like we're starting to see a lot of new followers come in, and hopefully, as we start to talk about a lot of the athletic stuff, or maybe we get into some of the just brief history about Wayne State, maybe about athletics, some of the upcomings, excuse me, that we can get that out on Instagram and all that, and like some of these people can see that we can continue to do what we want to do the most, which is help grow the platform. Not necessarily for us, a little bit for us, no doubt, but ultimately for where you and I both graduated from, and help kind of continue to make that to be a little bit of a bigger thing. So I wanted to shout that out really quick, and also say, those of you who are listening, if you're curious, Bar Madness is essentially March Madness for Midtown bars. It's something that we've done for a number of years now. And starting on Thursday, March 27th, we will have voting for round two. So we're down to the final 8 right now, if I'm not mistaken. And every day we're going to put up a poll and vote on which bar you think should advance. Whoever ends up winning, we get to go and visit that bar. We bring them a cool little plaque of some sort to acknowledge them as the winner of that year. Lexington Bar is in it right now. They're a previous winner, and they still proudly display that up on the bar. I know Bronx was a winner at one point. I know that Old Miami was a winner. So lot of cool ones. Very curious to see what happens here, but it's been a lot of fun seeing the interaction this year.
Yeah, and a shout out to the Wayne State and Midtown community for voting Jumbos over Hopcat, because I know that Hopcat has advanced at least a round or two the past couple of years, and good on you guys for picking the right teams now, bars right now. For those curious, in your Elite Eight, we've got Third Street going against Z's Villa. We've got Lexington going against Woodbridge. Two bars are right next door to each other.
Yep, they're rivals. I feel it. I feel like they're
Yeah.
rivals.
Old Miami and Jumbos again. Yeah, that kind of Cass Corridor, Third Street, South Third Street type feel. And then looks like honestly, John's. I love the typo. Got it over Motor City Brew Works, and Bronx utterly destroyed Cobb's, which is a little surprising because I always thought that Cobb's was, kind of the new up and comer. I like going there, but Bronx is also very solid and the first ever winner of our little tournament.
It's true. Yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun seeing and then there was a new one that popped up that we went to that didn't make it in there, Dirty Shake. Very cool place. Unfortunately, we found them a little bit too late because they're very new. They've been open for like a week and a half at this point. So
Yeah.
they were not able to make it into the tournament. Very cool place though, that's basically a block away from Bronx. So
In Third Street.
I guess those and Third Street, I guess those listening, if you're looking for a cool place, that is a very good one. They are not a sponsor though.
No, but
Um,
something definitely between a cocktail bar like Time Will Tell and a dive bar like Bronx or Third Street. So
yeah.
I'd call it an upscale dive would be
Yeah.
the most correct.
Yeah, it is the only place like it in all of Midtown. I've not been to a place that's exactly like that. So that's very cool.
Maybe not Gray Ghost. What's across from it, but it's closer to downtown.
Oh, second best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but second
Yeah.
best tries to be that. Dirty Shake isn't trying to be that. They just are that, and that's what
Yeah,
makes it.
exactly. Yeah, so that's what we got going on there. So keep your eyes out on our Instagram story, as well as we put polls up on X as well. So if you want to go vote there, if you're not an Instagram user, please feel free to do that.
And
So
you
with
can
that,
vote.
let's
You can vote on both.
you
Just
can
saying.
vote on both. So you could double down or you could split the vote if you want to share the love. But please vote. It'd be great. We love the interaction. We love giving the shout out to some of these places. So let's
Sure.
talk about what we got coming up here, Sangster. So first of all, the men's golf team, as we talked about, they are currently in the middle of round 2 of the Finley Spring Invite. Tomorrow, March 25th, is round 3, the final round. So they'll be finishing that up. and they don't have a lot of time off. They're going to be driving back to Ashland, Ohio, so a little bit out of the way, but because they're going to the Ashland Invite, and that's going to be happening, I believe, over the weekend, if I'm not mistaken. I actually didn't look at the days that that's going to be, but they have that going on. Hoping for a good finish here tomorrow at the Finley Spring Invite, and then hoping for some pretty good stuff. I feel like at this point, we've talked about it last season. We're talking about it this season. It definitely seems like Max Leppelmeyer, Josh DeCarlo are the two. Who's going to be that third guy? Because I feel like that third guy on the team is going to be the X factor to really help this team take that next step and be, top. Definitely a ranked team. It
Yeah.
feels like is the goal for them right now because I don't believe they're ranked last I checked.
Um, uh, According to the Finley thing, I think they were 25 or 26, something like that.
Okay,
And Josh DeCarlo was somewhere in like the top 100.
good. He
So,
deserves it. He's
yeah.
done such good stuff there. So that's
Yeah.
what we got for men's golf. As mentioned, the women's golf team is off this week. I'll have to take a look. I think they maybe have some action. We'll probably be talking about them next week here. I haven't looked that far ahead yet because we just got out of the busy season for Wayne State Athletics. So not
Yeah.
looking that far ahead yet, but I definitely know that they'll be coming up here pretty soon. So the next team we want to talk about, we're going to talk about softball. They're currently at an overall record, thank you, Sangster, of 12-15 overall. They are 1-3 in conference play, and we are now in full glee action, full swing conference play. A lot
Full,
talking
full,
about
full slide, full head first.
something like that. We got three double headers coming up. One of them at home and two of them. What's that?
That is a lot of softball.
It's a lot. We got one home and two away. So starting out on Wednesday, March 26th, the Wayne State softball team will be at home against Saginaw Valley for a doubleheader. Saginaw Valley comes in with a 13-7 overall record, and they have not played any conference games yet. Starting on, and then after that, softball heads away. They get to head out to the west side of Lake Michigan to take on Parkside. This is going to be on Saturday. Parkside is at 12-10 overall, 3-1 in conference play. And then the Wayne State softball team heads down the road a little bit, kind of looping back around Lake Michigan to take on Roosevelt. Roosevelt is at an 8-14 overall record and 2-2 in conference play. So we get six chances here, Sangster. And just looking at the record, what feels like a good record at the end of this away trip? Well, I guess more than the away trip, the entire coming week here. What are we feeling?
I think yeah, one game above 500. I'd like to say that, you could win at home, sweep that one against Saginaw Valley. Yeah, look at their overall record, 13-7. It's a winning record, but we've played a lot more games than they have. So would I like to say that you could sweep Saginaw Valley on your home diamond? Yeah, absolutely. Going out to the west side, Lake Michigan, to Wisconsin, to Chicago over the weekend. Again, these are two teams that have basically the same record you do in terms of non-conference play. Parkside has 12 wins. You've got 12 wins right now. Roosevelt has less than you. They've got a losing record, 8-14, and splitting whatever GLIAC teams they've played. I don't think it's a far stretch to say you could at least split those on the road, maybe take one, maybe take both. But I think the most realistic outcome would be uh, splitting on the road those two games and then sweeping both at home.
I'm with you completely. And before I even looked at the math, I was like, a 4-2 record would be great. But if they go 4-2 in all of these conference games, guess what? They're coming back on from this away trip with a 5-5 conference record.
Yep.
And that's quite a bit above where they were last season. That would be impressive. I do think uh, a sweep against Saginaw Valley could happen. If that doesn't happen, fine and dandy. Go over to Parkside, at least split there, at least split against Saginaw Valley for the record, and then head on down to Roosevelt. You're heading back home. I know, a lot of traveling, a lot of time on the road. Go to Roosevelt. This is
New school.
uh, new school. Yes, that is true. Good call out there. Probably a team that you can I don't see a reason why you cannot win two games against that team. Nothing against them, but currently at 8-14 overall, and they're splitting their conference record. That leads me to believe that a 1-1, series against them is likely. So I don't think a 2-all. So all that to be said, 4 wins over these next six, I think should be at least the goal. I think it should be the
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. This is how much used I am to having Roosevelt around already. Is that I didn't even like bat an eye and say, "Oh yeah, we could split on the road with them." I just realized it's freaking Roosevelt. Go win
Yeah.
that game. Go
Yeah.
sweep them.
Yeah, exactly. That's a team that's
They're a little new to
I
this, to
haven't
this
looked
whole
at who they played so far. I know they've had some conference games in there, but they're still on the up. They were D3, now they're up to D2, essentially D3, whatever. We'll just call it that for the sake of who cares.
for
So
this.
that's what we got for
NAI.
softball, Sangster. Yeah, exactly. That's what we got for softball. One of the other things we know that we had a GLIAC softball pitcher of the week just last week, so uh, willing to bet she's going to get plenty of action over this next week. That'll be fantastic, and good luck to softball. Hopefully, we come back with a 500, at least 500 conference record.
That would be incredible to see. But we've got some more diamond sports as well. We've got baseball. They come in with a record of 10-13. Big win, at least one, over number 7 Florida Southern. They have not begun GLIAC play yet, but that changes this week. GLIAC action begins. We got a 4-game weekend series at Purdue Northwest in Hammond, Indiana. They come in with a record of 8-8. They are 0-4 to start out GLIAC play. You say that we need a 3-1 series win. I'm not going to say we need it, but I think it's incredibly doable for Wayne State to come out of here with a sweep.
Yeah, I do. I definitely do too.
Yeah,
We've talked enough about the home and away goals for a lot of teams. Handle your business at home, split away, which is why I said a 2-2 away here is not, if it happens, fine. Early season, we're getting into GLIAC play, cold weather, all that sort of stuff, fine and dandy. But to me, like we got to at least go 3-1. I'm going to be happy with. We come back from an away series with a winning record. I'm all in. I'm with you though. I absolutely have no reason to believe that after all the teams that we've played, the competition we've gone against, what we've seen from some of our players, a brand new pitcher for the Wayne State baseball team, to say that a 4-0 record from the series is not gettable. I absolutely think it is. But I will applaud a 3-1 at the very least.
yeah, and that puts you at least one game below 500. Uh, a sweep of the weekend puts you one game above it. Uh, did we also mention that our GLIAC pitcher of the week for Wayne State was a transfer from Purdue Northwest?
I
And now he
believe
gets
I
to go
did
face.
because I believe you read that, and then I did state that as he was a transfer from
Yeah.
Purdue North. I don't
Well,
I did I think I did say Purdue Northwest. Anywho,
well, in case you missed it the last time, he gets to go out and face his old team again, right out to start a GLIAC play for Wayne State now.
yeah. So definitely, I hope he's feeling like, hey, I want to feel like I
Yep,
made a good move. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to make it happen. I hope he makes it happen. And for what it's worth, I hope he gets GLIAC pitcher of the week again. So, go make it happen.
yep,
Baseball team, come back with a winning conference record. And yeah, get yourself pretty close to a 500 overall record, if not above that. So that would be very nice to see.
for sure. Outdoor women's track and field is starting now, and the team is split between two events. Uh, One part of the team is going out to the Texas State Bobcat Invitational in Texas, and the other part of the team is going to the Washington University Distance Carnival in St. Louis. It's a little weird, but yeah, there is a Washington University St. Louis. I I'm blanking out now, but there is some connection to the football team there. Uh, it might have been like one of the first opponents that Wayne State ever played, or something like that. But yeah, Wayne State does have a little bit of history with Washington University in St. Louis. But either way, best of luck to our track and field squad just getting their outdoor season started.
Today I learned, Sangster. I did not. I didn't do as much research as you did, apparently, because I looked at Washington University. I was like, cool. And then I saw St. Louis and like, that makes no sense to me. Turns
Yeah,
out, of all people,
no
once
relation
again,
to
no.
the University of Washington in Washington.
Yep, fair enough. Fair enough. So scooching along here, we got some tennis action. Both of our teams are going to be in action this week. Specifically, what kind of action are we talking about, Sangster? We're talking about glee action, the best kind of action that there is. Our men's tennis team is currently at an overall record of 9-4, and they haven't touched the GLIAC yet. And thankfully, for all of the conference teams, we haven't gotten there yet because we're getting there now, and they're going to see what we're all about. Home weekend for both of our teams, starting out Friday. The men's tennis team takes on Davenport. Davenport is at 12-4 overall, and they are 1-1 in conference play. And then right after that, Saturday, Grand Valley decides to come in to attempt to play our teams. And they're at a 9-2 overall record, and they are 2-0 in conference play. In this one, you look at that overall record, and they're both Davenport and Grand Valley are both well above 500, like more than our teams. But we also know who we played. Like we know that we went to Florida and played,
The best.
I think, four top 10 teams within a week of each other. So, you know, uh, I'm not batting an eye at that 9-4 record. We talked about it last week and probably the week before. And said you go down there to take on these teams that have the draw because that's what they are. They are tennis schools. We're talking Barry, we're talking Nova Southeastern, we're talking Flagler. All of those are tennis schools. I haven't even really looked that up, but I know that like that's one of their biggest things, if not their biggest sport by far, is tennis. You go and take them on. So when you come back, you go against Davenport, give them the respect that they deserve, but feel like you're going to be able to beat them because you just played, the best college has to offer, especially mostly in D2.
Right. And it's the same thing with Grand Valley that, yeah, a 9-2 record, really good coming in. They haven't lost a GLIAC game yet. Well, guess what? You're gonna lose this one now, coming into to Wayne State at home. So
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we got on the men's tennis side. Women's tennis, similar story, lighter schedule. They're at a 3-3 overall record, 1-0 in conference play. I believe they took on Saginaw Valley last week.
yes.
Um, and they were able to get that win there. So,
Oh
and
no,
and this is
Oakland.
well, conference.
Oh yeah. Oh, the week before. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. And that's when we originally made the comment of you go and take on these teams. You go take these long times away from home. You go to figure things out. You go to bond as a team. You do all of that. So when you come back, you feel like when you step into Duchesne, the outdoor facilities, you go to any of these conference opponents, you feel like you're gonna you feel like you're gonna win this. And that's where I think where the women's tennis team is at as well. So again, 3-3 overall. They are 1-0 in conference play. Same opponents they get to take on Friday. Davenport comes in with a 7-7 overall record and a 1-1 conference record. And then following that up Saturday, Grand Valley comes in with an 8-3 overall record, 2-0 in conference play. So when you look at the conference play for Grand Valley so far, they've had a little bit of experience in there. They've proven themselves as it looks like they're getting to be one of the best teams in conference play. And when you're Wayne State, which we've been a top of the conference in both tennis for a while, if not number one, top two in conference play. We can continue that on here. It's a really good opportunity here. So I definitely feel good about that one.
Yeah, I've looked at who Grand Valley has played right now for their 2-0 record in GLIAC play. Right now, it's been Roosevelt and Purdue Northwest. So
Okay.
that they have a solid foundation, and we're going to ruin that for them.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They don't know what's in front of them. They don't understand that Malik Arafat, Anna Isru, well, they actually probably do because a lot of them probably played. And Martin Spikoska, they're all standing there waiting, ready to go. And on the men's tennis time, like for those who missed it, last week we were talking a little bit about the ITA rankings, and the men's tennis team, I believe, is around number 14. That's not even the in the country. That's not even the craziest stat. Two of our doubles pairs are right around top 10, top 12 in the country. So, just when you think we're going to get that doubles point against Cedric Grenth and George Day, think again, they're one of the best in the country when you put both of them together. Oh yeah, and if you thought you were going to get the singles point against either of them, they're two of the I want to say top 30. We should probably go ahead and check that one. But I definitely know that the two of them are, you know, very highly ranked in the country. So leads to tough sledding for a team coming against Wayne State.
Yeah, and we'll definitely have that information next week, and I'm sure it'll be updated by next week, especially once you've had a little bit more conference play with Davenport and Grand Valley. But right now, it's shaping up that Wayne State women's tennis as well is probably going to be a top team in the nation. They haven't had as much action yet. Again, right now they've only played 7 games compared to some other teams out there. But all that really matters at this point now is that Wayne State's going to be diving into conference play, and this is the time to make it happen. Solid foundation going against Davenport and Grand Valley.
Yep, absolutely. So good luck to our tennis teams. Maybe if March Madness is getting a little bit chill, maybe I'll swing on through the Duchesne facility, see what's going on there. It'd be really nice if the weather could just get nice so we could go watch in
Right.
the outdoor facility, because the outdoor facility is fantastic. It is such a cool place, which also got me thinking, like, if I could throw it on my wish list, I would make Duchesne have 6 courts immediately. Because to be able to have 6 cool indoor and outdoor courts would be unmatched. And, you know, I won't ramble on about that one too much, but that would be very cool. So if time allows,
I mean,
maybe I'll make it down to see a little bit of the tennis team.
I kind of wish it had an indoor turf facility, but that's just me.
Hey,
I think it's supposed to, but we can't have everything.
we'll talk about our wish lists on one of these episodes as we get like into like April when the sports slow down. Our second segment will just be like Ryan and Sangster's wish list for campus,
For sure.
athletics campus.
Absolutely.
Last but not least, volleyball, Sangster. They
Yep,
got another
they've got
scrimmage coming up.
yep, they've got another home scrimmage against the University of Michigan Wolverines from Dearborn. Not from Ann Arbor. So again, another scrimmage for the spring season. Just keep some good conditioning going through the spring, going into the fall. And I believe also that alongside volleyball, another fall sport should be starting practice right now. The football team, believe it or not, we're only a few weeks away from spring ball.
Yeah, we're getting to it.
Yep.
We are getting to it. Really curious to see. I think we talked a little bit about football, and I know we have, at least an episode or two before that. What does the coaching staff look like? What does the full depth chart look like? All of those sorts of things. I know we're not quite there yet, but very curious to see how all of that shakes out.
Yep.
And at this point in the season, I know next time we talk, baseball, softball, tennis, and golf. Those are, that's really the part of the season that we're at. Track and field a little bit here and there because I know that they're in the outdoor part of their season, but a lot of the sports have completed for the season. So my favorite part about that is I can relax a little bit and not have to like analyze 57 sporting events that happened over the last week. But also we can dive in a little bit more. We can talk a little bit more and look at some of the more stats
Yep.
about baseball and about softball, like we do with football. We look at this stuff when football is around, when basketball is around. I like to think we get very, very detailed about a lot of that and try to understand as much of that. That is so hard when just about every varsity sport is playing at the same time and we have other things that we do in our lives to be able to cut out the amount of time to do that. So that makes it a little bit hard. But right around this time of the season, there's still enough going on that we can try to try to give a little bit better content, if you will, and give some of the listeners a little more information.
And especially now that conference play is starting out, this is where the meat and potatoes is of these sports. Where yeah, we've had a couple months now of non-conference games. Yes, it's good to start with those, but now it's all about winning the conference, and now we have enough data to kind of know what these teams are about.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the hard part sometimes is what does a 9-4 record for the Wayne State men's tennis team mean compared to a 12-4 for Davenport? I don't know. We've played a tougher schedule. I haven't even looked at who Davenport played, but I guarantee you we played harder teams than they did. So
We didn't see
as
them out with us. We didn't see them hanging
no,
out.
yeah, they were not on our flight. So we were also not on our team's flight. We were in Michigan. So that's what we got, Sangster. Hopefully, as we get the next couple of weeks, we're going to get a lot more into the details, a lot more into stats, talk a little bit more about some of these players, and it's going to be It's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm always excited for spring season around Wayne State athletics. It's highly underrated. I wish the following was as big as some of the fall and winter sports, but maybe we can help influence that a little bit. So
We're trying.
that is all we got. So
Yes.
with that, we appreciate everybody listening in on episode 93 of the Warrior House podcast.
And remember, it's always a great day to be a Wayne State Warrior.